The Grand Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Earth's ambassador, James Wilson, stood before the massive circular platform. The crystalline walls of the chamber reflected the soft blue light from above, casting shadows across the faces of 200 alien representatives from across the Milky Way. "The humans have gone too far," bellowed Council leader Marcus, his gray skin rippling with anger. "They refuse to follow our guidelines on technological development. They continue to create AI systems and enhance their military capabilities beyond approved levels." James maintained his composure, though his hands gripped the podium tightly. He had served as Earth's ambassador for 15 years, but never had he faced such hostility from the Council. "With all due respect, Council leader," James spoke firmly, "Earth has always been transparent about our developments. We believe in responsible progress." "Responsible?" interrupted Representative Linda from the Centauri Alliance, her crystalline form glowing with irritation. "Your species developed quantum weapons in secret. You've been experimenting with forbidden dimensional technology." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. James looked around, realizing with growing dread that Earth had few allies left in the Council. Most of humanity's former friends had been slowly turned against them through careful political maneuvering by their rivals. "The Council has reached a decision," Marcus announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. "Earth is hereby banished from the Galactic Council. All trade routes to the Sol system will be terminated. All technological sharing agreements are cancelled. Earth stands alone." James felt his heart sink, but years of diplomatic training kept his expression neutral. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly. "Humanity has always faced challenges alone. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive nature. This banishment won't break us, it will only make us stronger." As James turned to leave the chamber, Representative Thomas from the Proxima Coalition whispered, "You've doomed your people, Wilson. Without the Council's protection, Earth is vulnerable to any species that wants to claim your resources." James paused at the chamber's exit and looked back at the assembly. With steel in his voice, he declared, "Then they'll learn what happens when you corner a species that has spent its entire history overcoming impossible odds. We didn't join this council because we needed you, we joined because we believed in cooperation and unity. Remember that in the years to come." The doors sealed behind him with a final hiss, marking the end of humanity's 50-year membership in the Galactic Council. As James walked to his ship, he activated his neural implant to send an emergency message to Earth's government, Operation Phoenix authorized. "They've done exactly what we predicted. Begin Phase 1. Back on Earth, in a hidden facility." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, thousands of screens lit up with the same message. General Laura Miller looked at the assembled military and scientific leaders of humanity and nodded grimly. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "the Council has shown their true colors. For 20 years, we've prepared for this possibility. Now, we show them why Earth doesn't need their approval to become a force in this galaxy." Across the planet, secret facilities began powering up. Ships that had been hidden in underground bases and beneath the oceans emerged. Technology that humanity had kept hidden from the Council's prying eyes was activated. The Council thought they were punishing Earth. Instead, they had just removed the only chains holding back humanity's true potential. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after Earth's banishment, the planet buzzed with unprecedented activity. What the Galactic Council didn't know was that humanity had spent decades preparing for this scenario, building hidden shipyards in asteroid belts and underground facilities across the solar system. General Laura Miller stood at the command center of the Phoenix base, watching as holographic displays showed the deployment of Earth's secret fleet. "Status report," she commanded, her eyes fixed on the largest screen. "Operation Phoenix Phase 1 is at 85% completion," reported Commander David Ross. "The Jupiter shipyards are now fully operational. Mars colonies have activated their defense systems. The moon base has deployed its quantum shield array. A young analyst rushed into the command center, tablet in hand. General. We're detecting Council scout ships at the edge of the solar system. They're probably checking if we're as helpless as they expected. Laura allowed herself a small smile. Let them look. Maintain stealth protocols. We want them to keep underestimating us. Meanwhile, in the depths of Europa's underground ocean, Earth's most advanced research facility hummed with activity. Dr. Robert Hayes, lead scientist of Project Ascendance, addressed his international team of researchers. The Council's ban on dimensional technology? He gestured to the massive machine behind him, pulsing with ethereal energy. We surpassed their limitations years ago. They restricted us because they feared our potential. Now, we'll show them why. The machine, nicknamed Breach, was humanity's greatest secret. While the Council thought Earth was merely experimenting with basic dimensional studies, humans had already mastered controlled dimensional rifts, allowing for near-instantaneous travel across vast distances. In orbit around Earth, Ambassador James Wilson's ship docked with the newly revealed Unity Station. The massive space station had been hidden in plain sight, disguised as a defunct satellite network. Now it served as humanity's military headquarters. The Council's reaction was predictable. James reported to the assembled Earth Defense Council. They think they've isolated us, weakened us. But their trade embargo has only made us more self-sufficient. Their technology restrictions forced us to develop our own, better solutions. And what of our allies? Asked Director Anna Thompson, her hologram flickering slightly. A few civilizations disagree with our banishment, James replied. The Arcturus Federation and the Rigel Collective have secretly maintained contact. They've seen the Council's corruption firsthand. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A tactical officer's voice rang out, multiple ships entering the system. Energy signatures matched the Centauri Alliance fleet. Here we go, Laura announced, her voice steady. They couldn't resist testing our defenses. Activate Protocol Omega. Let's show them our first surprise. Across the solar system, hidden defense platforms emerged from their camouflaged positions. The approaching Centauri ships, expecting to find a vulnerable Earth, instead encountered a web of advanced defense systems that hadn't existed on any Council registry. They're scanning us, reported the tactical officer. Their ships are maintaining distance, they're turning around. They're retreating. James watched the enemy fleet's withdrawal with grim satisfaction. Send a message to all Earth forces, Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, massive construction yards revealed themselves. Ships of human design, incorporating technologies the Council had never seen, emerged from hidden docks. Quantum communication arrays activated, connecting Earth's forces through channels the Council couldn't detect or intercept. The message was clear: humanity wouldn't just survive their banishment, they would thrive. The Council thought they were punishing Earth, but they had actually unchained a sleeping giant. As the last Centauri ships disappeared into deep space, Laura addressed her command staff. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. But when they return, they'll find that the Earth they tried to isolate has become something far more powerful than they could have imagined. The real question wasn't whether humanity would survive, it was how the galaxy would handle the rise of an unshackled human empire. The news of Earth's hidden military capabilities spread through the galaxy like wildfire. In an emergency session of the Galactic Council, representatives argued fiercely about how to handle this unexpected development. Council leader Marcus paced the chamber floor, his gray skin now almost white with stress. The Centauri reports must be wrong. How could they hide such extensive infrastructure? They didn't just hide it, Linda of the Centauri Alliance snapped. They built it right under our noses. Our scout ships confirmed at least 3 massive shipyards in their asteroid belt alone. Meanwhile, aboard the Unity station, Earth's leadership was implementing the next phase of their plans. General Laura Miller and Ambassador James Wilson stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, marking potential expansion routes. The Arcturus mining belt is crucial, Laura explained, pointing to a cluster of stars. With their support, we can establish a presence outside our solar system within months instead of years. James nodded, studying the map. The Rigel Collective has also offered us access to their jump points. They've grown tired of Council restrictions on their own development. On Europa, Dr. Robert Hayes and his team achieved another breakthrough. The breach device hummed with new power as it opened a stable dimensional corridor across unprecedented distances. Send the test probe through, Robert ordered, watching as the small device disappeared into the swirling portal. Moments later, data streamed across their screens. Success! We can now reach the Arcturus system in minutes instead of weeks. But not everything was proceeding smoothly. Earth's rapid expansion and show of power had drawn the attention of more than just the Council. Deep in unexplored space, ancient civilizations that had long watched from the shadows began to stir. Commander David Ross rushed into the Unity Station's command center, his face grave. "General, we've detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of charted space. They don't match any known Council technology." Laura studied the readings with growing concern. "Whatever it is, it's massive. And it's moving toward Council space." Back on Earth, Director Anna Thompson convened an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. "Our long-range sensors have picked up something disturbing. There are forces at work here beyond the Council's petty politics." The holographic displays showed massive objects emerging from the darkness between stars. They moved with purpose, their technology far beyond anything Earth or the Council had ever encountered. "Perhaps this is why the Council tried to restrict technological development," James suggested. "They might have known something was out there. Or they were just afraid," Laura countered. "Fear of the unknown made them try to control everyone's development. But humanity's strength has always been in facing the unknown head-on. The Council's attempts to contain the situation were failing. More species began reaching out to Earth, seeking alliances and technology-sharing agreements. The very embargo meant to isolate humanity was causing their influence to spread. The Council's authority is crumbling," James reported during a secure briefing. Their own members are starting to question centuries of restrictions and control. Dr. Hayes joined the briefing via quantum link. "We've modified the breach technology to work on a larger scale. We can now move entire fleets through dimensional corridors. The galaxy just got a lot smaller. But as Earth's power grew, so did the mysterious threat. Approaching from deep space." Laura watched the sensor readings with growing unease. "We've broken free of the Council's chains only to face something far more dangerous. Maybe this is humanity's real test." The command center erupted with new alerts. Multiple Council worlds were sending out distress signals as massive, unknown ships appeared in their systems. "Well," Laura said grimly, "it looks like humanity's rise to power might have to wait. We've got bigger problems now." She turned to her staff. "Send word to all Earth forces and our new allies. Whatever's coming, we face it together." The galaxy was about to learn that a united humanity was more than just a rising empire. They might be the only force capable of facing what was emerging from the darkness of space. The Council's worst fears came true within days. The mysterious fleet struck 3 outer colonies simultaneously, their black ships seeming to absorb all light around them. Council defenses, considered the height of galactic technology, crumbled like paper. In the Unity Station's war room, General Laura Miller watched the footage from the attacks. "These aren't random strikes," she observed. "They're testing defenses, learning our capabilities." Ambassador James Wilson entered the room, his face grim. "The Council is in chaos. 2 more colonies have gone dark. They're asking for help, officially this time. Ironic, Laura said, allowing herself a brief, bitter smile. They banish us, then come begging when a real threat appears. She turned to Commander David Ross. Status of our fleet? Breach technology has been successfully installed in our primary battle groups, David reported. Dr. Hayes says we can deploy anywhere in known space within minutes. On the main screen, another Council world went dark. The unknown ships moved with impossible precision, their weapons unlike anything seen before. They left no survivors, no ruins, just empty worlds stripped of all resources. Director Anna Thompson's hologram appeared in the war room. The Defense Council has made its decision. We'll help the Council worlds, but on our terms. They accept our leadership in this crisis, or they face it alone. In the Council chamber, panic had replaced the usual political maneuvering. Council leader Marcus stood before the assembly, his pride finally broken. We have no choice, he announced. Earth's technologies are our only hope. We must accept their terms. Representative Linda objected, her crystalline form pulsing with anger. They'll demand complete autonomy. All our laws, our restrictions, will mean nothing if we're all dead, Marcus cut her off. The humans were right. Our fear of progress, our need to control, it made us weak. They prepared for the unknown while we hid behind rules and regulations. Back on Europa, Dr. Robert Hayes made another breakthrough. The energy signatures from the unknown ships, he explained to his team, they're similar to our breach technology, but vastly more advanced. They're not just moving through space, they're warping reality itself. Earth's response was swift and decisive. The secret shipyards, now operating at full capacity, began producing vessels equipped with modified breach drives. The Arcturus Federation and Rigel Collective contributed their resources, following Earth's technical specifications. First contact with the enemy fleet in the Proxima system, David announced. The war room screens showed Earth's lead battle group emerging from dimensional rifts, surprising the black ships from multiple vectors. The battle that followed proved that humanity's preparations hadn't been in vain. While the enemy's technology was superior, Earth's ships were unpredictable, using tactics that defied conventional space warfare. They're pulling back, Laura observed, watching the enemy fleet retreat. First time they've done that. They're learning that we're not as easy to overcome as the Council worlds. James received urgent communications from their allies. The Arcturus Federation reports similar successes. The enemy doesn't adapt well to unconventional tactics. They're used to overwhelming force, not creative strategy. But their victory was short-lived. New sensor data revealed more massive objects emerging from deep space. They were just the advance force, Laura realized. The main fleet is coming. Dr. Hayes contacted the war room, his voice excited despite the grave situation. General, our analysis of the battle data confirms my theory. These beings, they're not from our dimension. They're breaking through from somewhere else, using our reality as a resource. How do we fight an enemy that can simply step through dimensions? David asked. Laura studied the tactical display, a plan forming in her mind. We beat them at their own game. Dr. Hayes, you said our breach technology is similar to theirs, just less advanced? Yes, but then we don't try to match their power. We find a way to disrupt it. She turned to her staff. Contact all allied forces. If these beings want to use our dimension as their hunting ground, we'll show them why that's a mistake. The true test of humanity's rise to power was beginning. The galaxy would either witness their triumph, or their final stand. On Europa, Dr. Robert Hayes and his team worked tirelessly to understand the dimensional invaders' technology. The breach device had been modified to detect the subtle distortions the enemy ships created in spacetime. Look at this, Robert pointed to a complex pattern of energy waves. They're not just traveling through dimensions, they're feeding off them. Each world they strip doesn't just lose its resources, it loses its dimensional stability. General Laura Miller absorbed this information in Unity Station's command center. So they're not just invaders, they're parasites. They drain dimensions dry and move on to the next. Exactly, Robert's hologram nodded. And based on the energy readings, they've done this countless times before. Their home dimension must be completely drained, forcing them to seek new hunting grounds. Commander David Ross burst into the command center. General. The main enemy fleet has begun its advance. They're hitting everything in their path, council worlds, neutral systems, everything. The tactical display showed dozens of black ships cutting through space, leaving dead worlds in their wake. But this time, something was different. The enemy had adapted their tactics, becoming more cautious around human-controlled space. They're learning, Laura observed. They recognize us as the main threat now. She turned to Ambassador James Wilson. How are our allies holding up? The Arcturus Federation is fully committed, James reported. The Rigel Collective has opened all their shipyards to us. Even the Council. He smiled slightly, is following our orders without question. In the depths of Europa's ocean, Robert's team made a breakthrough. The dimensional rifts they create, they have a unique frequency. If we can generate an opposing frequency, we could disrupt their ability to feed off our dimension, Laura finished. How quickly can we modify our weapons? Hours for the prototypes, Robert replied. Days for fleet-wide implementation. But General, there's a catch. The power required, we'd have to channel it through the breach device itself. Making it a one-way trip for whoever delivers the weapon, Laura said grimly. Keep working. We need options. The enemy fleet proved devastatingly efficient. Within days, they had consumed 5 more star systems. The council chamber, once a place of political maneuvering, had become a refuge for representatives of fallen worlds. Council leader Marcus addressed the emergency session. Earth's forces are all that stand between us and extinction. We hereby formally dissolve the Galactic Council and pledge our remaining resources to the Earth Defense Command. Director Anna Thompson's hologram appeared in the war room. All remaining Council ships have been integrated into our fleet structure. The combined fleet is ready. Laura studied the tactical projections. The enemy's main fleet was massive, but their pattern was clear. They moved in straight lines, consuming everything in their path. Their efficiency was also their weakness. They're too perfect, she realized. Too predictable. They follow the optimal path every time, which means. She turned to her staff. Plot their course. Where are they heading? The projection showed their trajectory leading directly to the heart of the galaxy, to Earth. Of course, James said. They can sense that we understand dimensional technology. Earth must look like a feast to them. Laura activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is General Miller. The enemy believes they found their next meal. They think they're hunting us. They're wrong. Humanity has spent its entire history being underestimated, being told what we can't do. Today, we show them why that's always been a mistake. The combined fleet of Earth, former Council worlds, and their allies moved into position. Dr. Hayes' prototype weapons were distributed to key ships. The trap was set. They want to feed off our dimension? Laura's voice was steel. Let's give them something they can't digest. As the massive black ships approached, humanity prepared for its greatest battle. They weren't just fighting for Earth anymore, they were fighting for the survival of their entire dimension. The battle began with a sight unprecedented in galactic history. Earth's combined fleet, now joined by ships from every surviving civilization, faced the approaching wall of black vessels. The dimensional beings had gathered their entire force for this final assault, confident in their overwhelming power. Enemy fleet entering the Tau Ceti system, Commander David Ross reported from his tactical station. Their numbers are enormous. At least 3 times our combined strength. General Laura Miller stood at the center of Unity Station's command center, her face illuminated by the holographic battle display. Numbers aren't everything. Status of Operation Lightbringer? Dr. Hayes reports the modified breach devices are ready, James Wilson answered. All key ships are equipped with the dimensional disruptors. But Laura. He hesitated. The calculations show the energy backlash will destroy any ship that activates them. Those ships and their crews volunteered, Laura replied softly. They know what's at stake. The enemy fleet moved with their usual mechanical precision, their black ships arranging themselves into perfect attack formations. But this time, they faced an opponent who understood their nature. All ships, execute Pattern Phoenix, Laura commanded. The combined fleet split into smaller groups, each led by a vessel equipped with Hayes device. The formation looked chaotic, almost desperate, exactly as planned. The dimensional beings took the bait. Their fleet divided, moving to engage what they perceived as easy prey. Their black ships rippled with energy, preparing to feed off their victim's dimension. They're committing their forces, David announced. All groups report enemy ships in optimal range. Laura took a deep breath. Send the signal. Across the battlefield, the trap was sprung. The volunteer ships activated their modified breach devices, generating opposing dimensional frequencies that crashed against the enemy's feeding attempts. The result was catastrophic. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as the dimensional energies collided. The black ships nearest to the devices began to break apart, their perfect forms unable to handle the disruption of their feeding process. It's working! David shouted. Their ships are being torn apart by their own dimensional rifts. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Each human ship that activated its device was consumed in a burst of dimensional energy, their brave crews giving their lives to save their dimension. The enemy, for the first time, showed signs of confusion. Their perfect formations broke apart as they tried to adapt to a type of attack they'd never encountered. Second wave, engage. Laura ordered. The remaining fleet ships launched their assault, targeting the disoriented enemy vessels with conventional weapons. Ships from Earth, the former Council, and their allies fought as one, pressing their advantage. The dimensional beings attempted to retreat, to regroup, but humanity had planned for this too. Dr. Hayes' voice came through the command channel, activating the dimensional net, now. The modified breach device on Europa powered up to full capacity, creating a web of disrupting frequencies that trapped the enemy fleet in normal space. The black ships could no longer slip between dimensions to escape. They're trapped. James exclaimed. Their ships can't handle prolonged exposure to our space without being able to feed. Laura watched as the mighty enemy fleet began to crumble. The beings that had consumed countless dimensions, that had seen civilizations as mere resources to be devoured, were finally facing something they couldn't overcome, human determination. This is for every world they destroyed, Laura said quietly. For every life they consumed. All ships, execute final attack pattern. The combined fleet moved with perfect coordination, their weapons tearing into the trapped enemy vessels. One by one, the black ships shattered, their dimensional energy dispersing harmlessly into space. As the last enemy ship exploded, a cheer went up through the command center. But Laura's expression remained serious. Begin search and rescue operations. I want full scans of the battlefield. Make sure none of them escaped. General, James said, looking at the battle data, we did it. We actually did it. We did more than win a battle, Laura replied. We proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to unite against impossible odds and find ways to overcome them. The galaxy would never forget this day. The dimension-consuming beings that had terrorized countless realities had finally met their match, in a species that had been banished and underestimated, but refused to be defeated. 1 month after the Great Battle, representatives from every surviving civilization gathered in the rebuilt council chamber on Earth. The room that had once banished humanity now served as the foundation for a new era of galactic cooperation. General Laura Miller stood beside Ambassador James Wilson, watching as former council leader Marcus addressed the assembly. The gray-skinned alien's pride had been replaced by genuine humility. The old council failed because we feared change, Marcus admitted. We tried to control progress, to maintain our power through restrictions and rules. In doing so, we nearly doomed our entire dimension. Director Anna Thompson stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. Today, we propose a new form of galactic leadership. Not a council that restricts, but an alliance that empowers. Every civilization free to develop, to innovate, but united in common defense and purpose. In the Europa facility, Dr. Robert Hayes and his team had made further breakthroughs. The breach device, modified by the battle experience, now served as an early warning system for dimensional disturbances. We'll never be caught off guard again, Robert explained to the assembled leaders. If any other dimensional beings try to invade our space, we'll know long before they arrive. Commander David Ross presented the military readiness report. The combined fleet is stronger than ever. Ships from every world are being upgraded with Earth's technology. More importantly, we're sharing tactical knowledge, learning from each other's strengths. The changes weren't just military. Trade routes once restricted by council laws now flowed freely. Technological advancement, formerly held back by arbitrary limits, flourished across the galaxy. The very diversity the council had feared became their greatest strength. The dimensional beings chose the wrong galaxy to invade, Laura remarked to James as they watched ships from dozens of worlds moving through Earth's space lanes. They thought our differences made us weak. Instead, those differences gave us the creativity we needed to defeat them. Former Representative Linda, her crystalline form now glowing with a warmer light, approached them. I was wrong about Earth, she admitted. We all were. Your species' drive to push boundaries, to question limits, it saved us all. The ceremony that followed marked the official founding of the Galactic Alliance. Earth, once banished and isolated, now stood as the heart of this new civilization. But power wasn't concentrated in human hands alone, every world had an equal voice in shaping their shared future. Let the galaxy remember this lesson, James addressed the assembly. True strength isn't found in control and restriction. It's found in freedom, in unity despite our differences, in facing the unknown with courage rather than fear. Laura received an urgent message from the Europa facility. But unlike the crisis communications of the past month, Dr. Hayes' face showed excitement rather than concern. General, our deep space probes have found something remarkable, he reported. Worlds the dimensional beings attacked, they're healing. The dimensional stability is returning. Life could return to those systems. The news spread through the assembly, bringing hope to representatives of worlds that had lost colonies and outposts. Recovery and renewal were possible. As the day drew to a close, Laura stood at the observation deck of Unity Station, watching Earth rotate below. James joined her, carrying 2 glasses of champagne. From banished outcasts to the heart of a new galactic civilization, he mused, handing her a glass. Not bad for a few months' work. Laura smiled, remembering the journey that had brought them here. The Council's banishment was the best thing that could have happened to us. It forced us to prove what humanity is capable of when we're free to reach our full potential. Below them, Earth glowed with the lights of a civilization that had faced extinction and emerged stronger. Around them, ships from across the galaxy moved in harmony, their crews no longer divided by council restrictions but united in purpose. To the future, James raised his glass. To humanity, Laura replied, then added with a smile, and to all our allies who finally learned not to underestimate us. The stars seemed brighter that night, as if celebrating with them. The galaxy had entered a new age, one built not on fear and control, but on courage, innovation, and the unshakable spirit of unity that had saved their dimension from the greatest threat it had ever faced.